welcome to episode 4 of the Rorschach Test podcast. I am your host, Terrell James. I have a very special guest with me today, radio DJ Calvin Williams. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and tell everybody what just happened. Okay, I was I was going to just play it off, but I'm going to. So we started the podcast. We were going, and then I realized that I didn't hit the record button. So luckily, we didn't get too deep into the conversation before it dawned on me that I didn't hit the record button. But I don't care about telling myself stuff like that. It's funny. I don't mind being laughed at. So
It is what it is, man.
but basically what I was saying before when we were not recording, I was saying that I met Calvin through a mutual friend, a friend of ours who has a podcast, and she goes live on Facebook. We were interacting with each other. Me and Calvin we were interacting with each other on the live, and this is probably about a month and a half ago, something like that. And I just found out that he was a radio DJ and that he had a radio show. So befriended him on Facebook, and then I one night I really wanted to cuss him out because the I'm listening. I think what time does your show come on? It's 11 o'clock, right?
11 p.m. Yep.
Okay, so it's 11 p.m. I'm trying to go to sleep, and I can't sleep because the music that he's playing is just that good. Like I'm just sitting there, and it was my vibe too. Oh my gosh, it was so smooth, and I was like, man, I ain't never getting to sleep. I didn't know what time the radio show ended. Like I had to just turn it off. I just had to turn it off and just go to sleep. I said, I can't do this. I'm gonna be up all night, and I already have an issue with insomnia. So when I can get to sleep, it's very precious to me. So. But now I got you bothering. What is it? Tuesday nights, right?
Yep. Tuesday nights. Yep.
Tuesday nights. Okay. Well, all right. So before we really get into exactly what it is that you do and why you do what you do, just with the Rorschach test. Now, are you familiar with the Rorschach test?
I am familiar with the Rorschach test.
Okay.
I've never done one before, so this is gonna be kind of interesting.
Yeah. But what I do is I put up these Rorschach tests, and you'll look at it. You'll tell me exactly what it is that you see, and I'm going to try to link what it is that you see to what it is that you do.
Okay.
I'm going to try to link it to your passions, and I mean, hell, we could even like dig into your childhood and just and kind of retrace the steps. Connect the dots to how you got to where you are right now. Okay. But before we do all of that, just tell me about Calvin Williams.
It may come as a surprise, but I am well, at least I feel I am a textbook introvert. I'm one of those people that doesn't really make an effort to talk to people or strike up conversation. However, I don't know. I guess somewhere on my forehead says like talk to me, because like people just gravitate to me and strike up conversations. Like I look at my Facebook friends list. It's like 1,200 people. I'm like, how do I know all these daggone people? But like with that said, all the time I spend not talking, I spend like just basically getting out my creative energies, whether it's writing music. You probably see my guitar and my keyboard over here.
Mm-hmm.
Being a tech geek, doing sound design, and just basically doing things to keep myself busy. Because I don't know, I just have a lot of a lot of creative energy, and like even though I'm pretty laid back, but like all the laid backness kind of hides everything else that I do. So like there's a lot of things that a lot of people don't know that I do, and we'll probably touch quite a bit into that.
Yeah, that's what you're here for, to put it all out there. And for me to psychoanalyze you based off of what you see on these Rorschach tests, I am not qualified to psychoanalyze anyone.
Hey, that's half the fun, man.
Exactly. So how long have you been a DJ?
I've been doing doing my show Lush Vibes Radio since October of 2018.
Okay.
So it's really interesting how that came about. Like I had a friend that had a show at this radio station, Radio Free Brooklyn. Actually, two friends, and they were like, "Hey, Calvin, would you be interested in hanging out on our show one of these days?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, okay." So like one guest spot turned into two, turned into six.
Wow.
And as time went on, they slowly started to like sow the seed in my head to consider doing my own show.
Mm-hmm.
Like like the thought of me doing my own show like was unfathomable at that time, because like I said, textbook introvert, not one to like really put myself out there.
Mm-hmm.
But radio is like basically like putting yourself out there on full blast for the world to see, and that was absolutely frightening to me. But I entertained the thought, and put together an idea for a show. I submitted it to Ready Free Brooklyn. It got approved, and here we are today.
Mm-hmm. And playing some incredible music too.
Thank you.
I was actually, as I was listening to the songs, I was writing down the name of well, not writing down, I was putting it in my phone, because who has a pen these days? But
Exactly.
but I was putting it in my phone just so I could go back and I could search these artists, because I mean that music was incredible. Now you're also a producer.
I hesitate to call myself a producer. Like I consider myself a bedroom composer.
I consider myself a bedroom composer too, but for different reasons. We're not going to talk about that though. But continue. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to throw you off.
Well, yeah, like I started just like I had one day in high school. I was walking my dog, and I realized I had an idea for a song, and so I just did some research, went online, figured out how does one write music on the computer, and like my journey kind of started there. That was back in 2000. And so ever since then, I just kind of like it wasn't anything that I thought I could be like a huge thing for me. It was just something that I really enjoyed. So over the years, I slowly like experimented with music, began to try to figure myself out musically, like how I wanted to sound, all the different sounds I wanted to explore. Mm-hmm. And so that's how my music journey began.
Okay. All right. Well, I tell you what, let's get into one of these Rorschach tests. So right. I'm going to put something up on the screen. I want you to tell me what you see.
First thing I see is a guitar.
That makes sense.
Like that's what jumped out at me.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got the headstock at the top, the fretboard, the body of the guitar. Like that's.
Yo, you geek on me right now. That's just the guitar. You know all the different parts. I didn't know the different parts of the guitar had different names. I'm learning something though. I'm learning. So, so and that's all you see is a guitar?
Yeah, I see a guitar. Like the headstock kind of reminds me of a butterfly a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, the body of the guitar kind of looks a little bit like a star to me. Um, yeah, it's about what I see.
Um, I see a vagina, and I see a vagina with angry flaps. Now,
on
I
on
want.
some on some like predators predator type ish.
Yeah, I don't. You know what's funny, man? I have been able to sexualize so many things. Uh, that was my. So what I've done is I went and I downloaded a bunch of them,
Mhm.
but I didn't really spend any time really looking at them. I wanted
All
it to
right.
be new when we did the podcast. So that was my first time actually really paying attention to that one. I remember on my first podcast that I did, I saw an angry vagina.
I saw that one.
Yeah, yeah. I saw an angry vagina. I keep seeing angry vaginas. I think I may need therapy, but this isn't about me. So yeah,
That's for another show.
yeah. Another show and probably not an audience. I just need just me and the doctor. Okay, and maybe a padded room. But so I mean it makes perfect sense that you saw a guitar. I mean that's who you are. So you know how to play.
I play decent. Like I don't practice nearly as much as I should. Like I started playing um again back in 2000. Like that was really um when the music journey started for me. Like writing music, learning the guitar. Um actually like set my guitar down for like a good 3 or 4 years, and it wasn't until like maybe no, actually last year until I like kind of got the spark to pick it up again.
Mhm.
I think the lockdown had a lot to do with that. Just
Ask if that's what.
realize like realizing like I'm kind of stuck in the house.
Mhm.
Um, there's a lot of things that I like from my past that I haven't really tapped into that I really enjoyed, and so just like getting back into guitar is just kind of a rediscovery for me, and it was really nice. Especially like remember like knowing that I remembered so many of the songs that I learned like 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Mhm.
Like just interesting to like see them like the muscle memory was still there, and all not just the muscle memory but all the good memories behind all those songs.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So do you actually write words to the songs too, or you just compose the music and allow
Uh,
the
I
to write?
uh, I just compose music. I've tried countless times to write lyrics.
Uh-huh.
I hate every single word that I write.
Well, it's good and it's important to know your strengths and your weaknesses. So
Yeah.
and to just focus on those strengths. You sent me a set of beats and with so what you sent me, the email that you sent me, was it just beats or were they actual songs that you produced?
There. Let's see. After hours and let's see. After hours and tasty were beats. Um, prepare for anything is actually a song I composed for a project that I'm working on.
Hmm.
Um, Misty Forest and Velocity Ridge are just two songs that I wrote because I really like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Okay. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to listen to any of it because it told me that I had to request permission.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I'm like, I uploaded the songs in straight into the email that was going to you. Why didn't it give you the
Yeah,
permissions?
I don't know. I hate technology. It's probably me because me and technology don't get along. As you see,
But
sometimes I forget to hit the record button. But
oh, I saw the email saying that your requested permission. I'm like, oh, come on. So I in the short time between when I saw that and now, I tried to give you full permission. So you may be like you should be able to grab them now.
okay, yeah, it'll give me something to do on my way home. I live about an hour away from the podcast studio, so that'll give me something to listen to on the way home.
All right,
Um,
right on.
and the voices in my head. So, um, with music, with me, you know what? Actually, I want to do another Rorschach test before I ask this question. So,
Okay.
I want to get a little more creative this time, though. So, here, check this out.
Um, I see a fox,
Hmm.
like a like a canine type creature,
Hmm.
like a excuse me, like a fox or a wolf. I see ice, kind of like maybe like some kind of like Arctic scene or like a Arctic fox or of some sort.
Um,
I don't see a vagina.
yeah. This time I don't either. I don't know what I do kind of in the middle. I do see like a fox's nose, or it does look like it kind of a fox's face. I do kind of see that.
Hmm.
I didn't see that initially. Other than that, man, I don't know what I see. This right here is I don't know. I have no idea where to even begin with this one. Um, at
I
the top, I see a pair of scissors.
Yep, I see it. Yep.
Okay, I see two pyramids. I guess I need to just break this thing all the way down. I see two pyramids. Um, I see.
You know, to the left and the right of the fox's snout, I see two faces, like a head and like a neck and a shoulders,
Mhm.
and what kind of looks like long hair, um, kind of jutting back.
Hmm. Okay, so here's the problem. I'm supposed to be trying to link what you see to what it is that you do. Now, how the hell am I supposed to pull this off right now? All right, let's see. Let's see. I had this trouble with my last podcast too, but I figured it out. All right, let's see.
All right.
So you see a fox. Um, and I'm sorry. What were the other two things that you said you saw?
A fox, um, two faces with like long hair, like two ponytails, like jutting out the back.
Hmm.
Um, like a very
Yeah.
like the fox is like in behind like a very Arctic type of scene.
Hmm.
So that was really what I was seeing here.
Should have chosen something else. Now I got to reach for this and try to figure out how to link this. What it is that you do. Okay. All right. All right. Fox, two faces, two faces. So actually, I'm gonna put it back up. What are the two faces doing? What is this? What does it look like they're looking at?
Like it almost kind of looks like they're kind of if they're not looking at themselves, they're like looking out in the distance, like they're kind of deep in thought, like kind of a very like stoic look on their face.
Hmm. Okay. Deep in thought, looking off into the distance. Foxes are in the woods. So you are an introverts, and escaping to the woods to be alone. Um, the faces are looking off into the distance. When you are creating, when you are creating as a creator, well, you're already an introvert, but do you have to go to an even, do you, I mean, it's one thing to just naturally want to be away from everybody else.
Mm.
But when it comes to creating, do you have to go to an even darker? I don't really mean darker, but more of a secluded place, whether physically or psychologically. Do you have to go to a more secluded place in order to create? Bear with me here. I'm going to connect it. I'm figuring it out. I'm going to connect it to the fox and the faces. But go ahead.
All right. Yeah, like a lot of times when I'm writing music, especially when ideas are forming, like I just have to kind of like dig deep and like push everything away to like really like let the ideas like kind of percolate and formulate, you know?
Hmm. Okay. So in doing that, so the fox is very um sneaky. That's how
Mm.
foxes are. They're very sneaky. They're nocturnal, correct? Aren't they nocturnal animals?
Um, Foxes, I believe they are.
Yeah, I believe they are. So do you do a lot of your creating at nighttime?
That's the only time I do my creating.
Told you I was going to make it connect. I have to. That's my job on this show. Um, do you feel like because it's funny you say that I am at the height of my creativity in the middle of the night. I used to in the middle of the night I would just get up, get in the car, and just drive. I would just drive all around. I used to live uptown from DC. I used to live uptown DC. I would drive all the way downtown and just be driving and driving and driving. Sometimes I would find my way into Virginia and then eventually on my way back home. But I had to move because my wheels up here were moving.
Mm,
The wheels of my brain were moving and I had to move with them. But it was always in the middle of the night. I would wake up at around midnight, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, just get in the car and just drive. Because that's where I'm at the height of my creativity. Do you feel the same?
oh, absolutely. Like, um, one of the reasons why my show is at 11 o'clock at night is because like that's when like that's kind of like the peak of my motivation.
Okay.
Like I have my day job. It's a technical job. I work for a phone company. I do technical support and I deal with telephones and servers and all that business.
Hmm.
So excuse me. So like I I spend like a good 9 10 hours of my day like working one side of my brain,
Hmm.
and like that's the crux of my day.
Right.
And after that, I kind of decompress, I chill. Nighttime comes. That's really when the ideas start to form, or that's when I kind of start getting my second wind.
Hmm. Yeah.
And like that's when that's one of the reasons why I love when my show at the time of night it is. It
Hmm.
originally was a 1 hour show that started at midnight, but I was able to grab the slot before me and expand to 2 hours, so 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. And like that's the peak hours for me,
Right.
especially especially like it was especially nice when I was doing my show in the studio. I'm doing my show from home right now,
Okay.
but but the studio was just kind of like a getaway, a different environment, um, a different place for me to like really like tap into like kind of the DJ brain and just get into the music, you know.
Right.
And after the show was done, it was still nighttime, and like I absolutely loved the night, and I just would wander around a little bit before the before my my bus home came. So
Hmm.
like that would give me even more time to like have moments to myself, um formulate thoughts, like work out whatever is probably swirling around in my head that I'm kind of stuck on, and just really really have that like nice solid quiet like contemplation for whatever it is that was in my head.
Right. Hmm. So okay, so going back to the fox, do you sometimes feel like you have to um again the fox is sneaky, um and it is a so is there this part of you, this sneaky part of you that creates, that you have to tap into to create? And when I say sneaky, I mean, when we're creating as creators, we need to make sure that we are creating in a way that is, we pretty much have to reinvent the wheel. And so
Agreed.
there takes a certain level of savvy and I mean, and being sneaky, trying to figure out a way around what has already been created, but to make it look as if it's something that has never been seen or done before. Do you find yourself
Yeah.
struggling with that at times?
It's like creativity is a problem. Is just a yeah, another form of problem solving exercises.
Mm,
Like that's especially how it feels for me because especially like working out ideas, like working out like guitar riffs and trying to figure out like what direction the song is going,
mhm.
and while at the same time trying to make sure that the idea is my own and I'm not really biting off of anybody.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, true. That is, I as a rapper, I will come up with bars, and then there would be times I would be like, have I heard this before? Like every now and then, that would happen. I would come up with something. I'd be like, I feel like somebody may have said this, but I mean, if I can't figure it out, then I just like whatever. I'm recording it anyway, and I just put it out there. So I get that. I get that part.
It's
So
kind of funny you mentioned that because like the first I'd say like the first 5 years of like me writing music,
mhm.
every song that I wrote, people would like the song, but they would also tell me, "Man, this sounds like something I've heard before." And that used to frustrate me to no end until I began to understand where the ideas were coming from.
Mhm,
Like I like a lot of songs will come from like songs that I like or like riffs or piano licks that or melodies that I from a song that I really like that kind of like I digested and like reconfigured into something new.
mhm. And you reinvented the wheel.
Exactly.
Yep, yep. So, all right. So going back to those two faces that you saw, you said they're like staring off into the distance. You
Hmm.
feel as though you have to zone out to create.
I feel like I have to zone out for most things.
Spoken like a true introvert. I got you though. Yeah,
like
yeah.
like
All right.
I I got a I got an interesting story like relating to both music and my introversion. um Commuting to and from work back when I was commuting, you there would be very few times where you wouldn't see me without my headphones on.
Okay.
Like that's me one listening to music, two drowning out the world, drowning out the world around me for either um just a little moment to myself or just like battling anxiety. But I remember back at my old job, I used to wait for the bus home, and I would see this dude that would carry a violin with him, and we would nod, say hello, and everything. Um, One day we ended up striking up a conversation, and he told me that he was a jazz violinist, and he was um, teaching at a local school to kind of get by. And so we kept in touch for a little bit. We lost contact, but one day a few years later, I saw that he was performing at the Blue Note in Manhattan, and I was like, "Shit, I have to go see him." So I go to the concert before he goes up. I see him and I ask him, "Hey, do you remember? Do you by chance remember me? Um, we used to wait for the bus together in Bed Stuy." He was like, "You were the dude with the headphones." So like
So you able to
he
connect with him again?
yeah, we were able to reconnect, and well, we keep in contact from time to time. He's been moving all over the place. He left New York. He moved to Texas to teach at I think it was Texas A&M.
Mhm.
So he's been moving back and forth, but he's been doing some really cool stuff. Like he got to he got to perform with Stevie Wonder for a few months on a tour. I was like, dude, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Like I was so hyped to see him just doing awesome things, man.
And did you say he was homeless?
No, he wasn't homeless.
Okay. I don't know
He
why
was
I thought you said that. Okay.
he was the school teaching gig was his was how he paid his rent every month.
Got you. Okay.
That's what paid the bills.
Right, right. As you know, we as artists, we got to find something to do until we can do what we want to do. So
Yep, exactly. Yep.
I definitely get that. Yeah, that's an interesting story, though. That really is an interesting story. So did you all get a chance to make music together?
We tried. I had sent him I sent him a couple of beats and like we chatted back and forth, but unfortunately nothing really ever came of it.
Hmm.
But eh, I'm holding out hope. Maybe one day the stars will align and we'll be able to collaborate one day.
Yeah, I think that would be an incredible thing, especially for you to create with somebody. Because I mean, I imagine he must be amazing at what he does if he has been on tour with Stevie Wonder. So
Dude
collab,
is
I think would be great.
unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that would be great. All right, man. Well, look, I'm going to put up another test, and we're going to actually let me ask you something. You told me before that you do a lot of things, so it's more than just the DJ thing and the production side. What else do you do?
So um
Give me one thing, then we're going to go into the test, and I'm going to try to link that to what it is that you do.
so I'm on top of being a host at Radio Free Brooklyn, I am also the technical director of the station.
Give
So
me- I don't want to link that with the test. That's it's going to be too hard. I gotta.
all right. I'll give you something else.
Okay.
Um One thing that a lot of people aren't aware of, uh, along with interestingly enough that the fact that I produce, I also do sound design for YouTube videos. Um, I'm part of a group that takes like different anime series,
Mhm.
um, rewrite the script, find voice actors to act the scripts that we put together,
Mm.
and I do all the sound design for those episodes. So the sound effects, the foley, background noises, and everything,
Mhm.
like that's what I do.
My son loves those anime cartoons. He tries his best to get me to watch it. Daddy, I think you'll like this. No, you don't think I'm going to like it. You watching something I don't want to watch. Get away from me, boy. This kid tries to get me to watch this stuff. It's like every week that this kid, man. um, I'm actually
Hey,
going to have him as a guest on my show too. He's probably going to talk about the whole anime thing, but whatever. Um,
I-
all right, let's get into another test, and I'm going to try my best to link what you just said. That actually, before we do that, let me ask you something. Tell me exactly what is sound design.
So, sound design is a combination of like at least in terms of the videos that I work on.
Mhm.
It's a combination of matching sounds to scenes, whether whether there's characters outside and there's like birds chirping, the wind's kind of blowing a little bit, down to the footsteps that they make when they walk. Um, Fight scenes, I put in all the like all the sound effects for the fight scenes.
That's cool. That is
Yeah,
really cool. Okay.
it's kind of wild, especially looking at the last few videos that I've done,
Uh-huh.
and like the intense fight scenes that have gone down. I'm like, damn, I really did that.
So what's the name of the anime series that you do it for?
So the name of the group is Fat Dog Studios.
Mhm.
The three series that we do parodies of are Log Horizon, um, That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, and One Piece.
Okay. I asked. I mean, I wouldn't know because I don't watch them, but I'm going to ask my son if he's going to if he watches any of those. Because
Okay.
he would be pretty he'd be pretty excited to hear. You know. I'm like, hey, but like, guess what, Terrell? That's my friend that made those noises that you just heard. Like I think that would be pretty cool. But all right, man, we're gonna get into one of these Rorschach tests. All right,
All
here
right,
we
right on. Okay, so this one I see a female pelvis.
That's what I'm talking about. It's about damn time somebody was vagina. Although I don't see a vagina here.
Yeah, I don't see a vagina either. I see like the hip bones,
Oh,
like the
okay. Okay, I see what you're saying. Gotcha.
hip bones, pelvis, cervix. Like the internal anatomy.
Hmm. Okay. Um, I see two people. It looks like they're washing their hands, and it's like there's a butterfly in between them.
Yeah, I see the butterfly.
Yeah. I don't know what the hell that is behind them though. It's Yeah, I don't know. I got nothing for those two red things behind them, behind their heads. But yeah, it looks like they're dipping their hands in water. So it looks like they're washing their hands. I don't know. Maybe they're trying not to get COVID.
Which is smart.
It is, but that's a weird
Something.
sink. That is a really weird sink. When you somebody while you're washing your hands, unless the person's looking in the mirror. Maybe
Yeah,
looking in the mirror. Uh,
perhaps.
and okay, and what exactly did you say you saw again?
A pelvis, like a woman's pelvis, hip bones, the cervix, the like internal workings of women's reproductive system.
All right, and now I got to try to link that to what it is that you do. Boy, oh boy. Um,
It's all curveballs today.
it is. Yes, it is. Female reproductive system, woman's pelvis. Did you see the hips too?
Yeah.
I only asked because I love hips. Um,
Hmm.
yes, as a matter of fact, as soon as this podcast is done, I'm going to rush home to my wife. She's going to kill me. um, but
break out one of my Quiet Storm episodes.
exactly. Yeah, man, I almost woke her up that night. I was listening to that music. I was like, baby, you got to get up for a second. A second, for just give me like 3.5 minutes. I mean, it's the middle of the night. Nobody trying to hit no home runs tonight. Like just 3.5 minutes, you go back to sleep. That's what that music is doing. But I mean, all right. So, woman's pelvis, what it is. All right. So check this out. So, the female anatomy. When you are creating music,
Mhm.
do you have to take? So let's say that you're creating. Let's say you want to create a beat where, in your mind, the writer or the artist is going to create something sexy, and it's a woman. It's going to create something sexy. Do you have to go to that place? I mean, as far as thinking about the way a woman moves, the way her body is shaped, do you have to take yourself to that place to create those types of songs? Damn, I'm good. I came, I didn't think I was going to be able to link it, but I did. Okay, all right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Shoot, no, for real, nicely done.
Thank you.
So to your point, like um every song, like you have to go to like a certain place,
Mhm,
like for one of those like mellow, quiet, stormy types.
mhm,
Like you gotta kind of dig deep when like get like find that certain place,
mhm,
whether like whether it's a moment you experienced, a feeling you felt, um seeing or being with somebody, you know,
mhm.
and just tapping into that moment and
Right.
seeing if you can equate that musically.
Mhm.
But
Uh,
one of the things I love about music is like the many forms of expression that you can take, that you can um do with it, like using instruments to convey feelings and emotions, or even scenery for that matter.
right.
Like that's the one thing I absolutely love about music, and writing music, like just tapping into that feeling, tapping into that emotion. I'm really bad at writing lyrics, so that's why I've like spent the last 20 years like really honing honing my ability to emote musically.
Okay. Mhm. That makes sense. That definitely makes sense. Are you married, in a
Nope,
relationship?
nope, single.
Okay. So, when you say that you've had to tap into like past experiences, relationships or whatever, I know as creators, me personally, I create from a very real place and from real situations. It's not the same with you. You create with a certain somebody in mind.
There have been a handful of songs that I wrote with a certain somebody in mind.
Mhm.
Like that was interestingly enough, like whenever I wrote songs in that vein, like that usually came around the time that I realized that I had liked that person.
Okay.
Like I was starting to have feelings for that person. Like the feelings turned into like basically turned into music.
Hmm. Yeah.
So like that's how I knew like the emotion was strong, when my feelings for them start turning into music.
Yeah. Boy, that's deep, powerful, and that
No.
is that is one hell of a pickup line. So check this out. If you can just walk up on a woman and say, "Listen, I, before you even give me your name, I think that you are incredibly beautiful, and I would love the opportunity to see if you were just as beautiful on the inside. However, I am a musician, and this isn't just a physical thing for me. I am trying to connect with you on a spiritual, intellectual, um, any level that you could possibly think of, and the physical aspect could just be an added bonus. However, uh, I'm hoping that my interaction with you could turn into music. You can have all of that. You can use that. Look, I'm out the game. I'm married. You can have all of that game that I
Listen, man, I would give anything to be that smooth. I'm about as smooth as an old cobblestone road, bro. Like I'd be the idiot. Idiot is like, hey, I really like you, and here's a song that I wrote. I hope you enjoy it.
Oh, there's somebody for everybody. There's somebody that's going to think it's amazing, because the fact of the matter is, regardless of how it comes out, it's genuine,
Yes, exactly,
and that's what
exactly.
somebody who's genuine, So yeah, I always think that it's interesting when people create with a person in mind. I love to hear stories of some of our greats, Marvin Gaye, Sam Cooke, people like this. I love to hear stories about the greats who have written songs, and then we find out what the songs were about. A lot of times,
Right.
people who just just not really creators, they just used to listening to music. They don't understand that we create from a very real place. They don't
Right.
understand. Like I was talking to my mother a couple of weeks ago. I was telling her that one of my favorite songs is "Zoom" by the Commodores, and
Mm.
she said that I forgot. I don't know if it was Unsung. It was one of those shows that I believe she was watching, and she said that Lionel Richie was saying that he was at such a dark place when he wrote that song, and I
Mm.
said I can relate. I get it. I have a lot of songs that I created from a dark place, from a very, very dark place. But once it reaches the ears of the consumers, it's just entertainment. When you don't
Mm.
realize I am bleeding into your ears right now.
I've had like ideas for songs where like I just like the emotion is just like pouring out of it, and um unfortunately like good portion of those songs have never made it to light because like I'm kind of like battling with those emotions and like trying to understand like basically trying to like work out those emotions in that song, and it starts to get really personal, and you get kind of like a butterflies as to whether or not you want to that's something you want to like expose to the world, like expose that those emotions,
Hmm.
because like those emotions get raw real quick.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to get it out. It's not necessarily for everybody else, but it needs to come out. I get that. I have two songs that I decided nobody will ever hear. Just me and my engineer that was in there. Nobody else will ever hear the song. So I get it. I get it. There were songs I just had to get it out. Just had to get it out. Um, but all right, I'm going to do another Rorschach test.
All right.
All right.
Okay, this is gonna sound interesting. I see all animals in this.
Mhm.
Like overall, excuse me. Like the overall picture, I see like a stingray.
Mm.
Like in the middle, like I see like a bat. The with the with like blue wings, like large blue wings,
Mhm.
and on the sides, um, the two red spots, they look like either like a bear or like bears or like a pumas or like some kind of primal creature.
Mhm. That's I definitely see the two bears. I didn't see the stingray initially until you said that. Now I see it. At the bottom in the middle, the red part,
Hmm.
it looks like I see two wolves howling, but their mouths aren't as pronounced as normal wolves' mouths are. It's they protrude more, but these it looks like their mouths were cut off, but it does look like they're howling.
It's what's interesting is I don't see wolves, I see lions. I see lions looking upward,
Mm-hmm.
like looking out, like almost akin to the two women I saw in that previous picture, kind of like looking out in kind of like a pensive pose.
Right. Okay. So, all right. So we got, you said bears, you said stingray, you said lions. Was it something else?
Um, the bat.
And the bat. Bat. Okay. So you have once again made this difficult for me. All right. Lions. Lions, the king of the jungle. Do you feel as though, do you take a fearless approach? Because lions seem to be fearless. Um, at least they are a symbol of fearlessness. You know, people always want to be the lion, you know.
Yeah,
So do you feel as though that you take a fearless approach when it comes to creating?
it all depends. It depends on the idea. Like, excuse me. Um, if it's an idea that just kind of like jumps out at me and kind of sticks in my head, I just go for it.
Hmm.
And there's other times where like I approach a song, like I have two songs that I'm working on and they're just taking forever.
Hmm.
Like like I just kind of letting them percolate and develop, but it's like you don't get that like feeling of fearlessness. Like you start to get nervous because you have this idea and like the passion is beginning to build. Like this is going to be a good ass song once it's done.
Hmm.
But how do I go about doing it?
So when it does hit you, when you figure out how to go about doing it, do you attack it with the ferociousness of a bear? I'm doing it.
like
I'm,
I,
you know.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you right there. Like if there's an idea that hits,
Hmm.
I drop everything, fire up my music software, and just start hammering it out.
Okay.
Like if at the very least I can get an idea out. So one, I can remember it for the next time that I hear it, and
Mhm.
two, once I have it down, I can let it sit and simmer and see where it goes.
Okay. Um, the bats. You know what? I'm not even going to really go with that because bats are nocturnal, and of course, you know, you're nocturnal. Stingray. Did you kill Steve Irwin?
Nope, but that was a very very sad day when I woke up and found out about that.
Okay. All right. That's my only link for the Stingray. I don't. Is your
Yo,
wall? I don't know if it's it looks on the screen, but is your wall purple?
no, it's actually just kind of like a off white beige.
Oh, okay.
Um,
It's just
it's
it looks on the.
it's the strip lights that's
Ah, got
setting the mood.
okay. Got you. I was, and the reason I was asking that, I saw in from what I see purple. I see a guitar. I was going to ask you, how do you feel about Prince?
One of the best to ever do it, man.
Hmm.
Like just learning about like after he passed, like learning that the man wrote two songs a day.
It's crazy.
Who does that? Who
Crazy.
can do that? and and even just learning about the artists and like songs he's influenced. Like I didn't know until after he died that he was the one that wrote Sinead O'Connor's "Nothing Compares to You,"
Yeah, that's what I.
and
He died. Yeah.
yeah, and after that, it made perfect sense. It sounds like him. It
Yeah.
sounds just like him.
All the songs that when I found out that he wrote it, I say, oh, okay, it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Another song that surprised me. Excuse me. That surprised me that in finding out that he did it. How come you don't call me anymore? By Alicia Keys.
I didn't know that one.
Yeah, that was Prince.
Wow.
And I heard his version.
You should have kept it.
He should have kept it.
Wow. Wow.
I got
And that's no knock on Alicia. We love you, Alicia, but
yes, but it's
all.
Prince, man.
Yeah,
It's Prince.
I get it. Wow.
You know, just like his like among like all the insane stuff that he was able to do, like him on guitar, it just guitar goals right there, man. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Have you seen the video of him doing a solo during Tom Petty's cover of While My Guitar Gently Weeps?
No,
Do yourself a favor, go see that video.
I will watch it.
And just be careful in case the skin on your face begins to melt. Listening to that guitar solo and just watching him wail on that guitar. Man. Like I see things like that and I look at my guitar and I'm like, I failed you, man. I'm sorry.
If Prince was still here and he was going to do a versus, who would you want to see him versus? And if you need to bring somebody back for that, then you can.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'd really have to put some thought into that one.
Yeah, that is a tough one. Now, the only person that makes sense in my head is Michael Jackson.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense.
I don't know. I don't see anybody else.
Like there's very few people that can really hold a candle to him.
Right. Yeah. But I think that would have been an incredible battle. I don't think that they would do a battle like that with Michael Jackson and Prince. I don't think they would do one with Prince, period, because based off some of the things that Prince would say, I don't think Prince would necessarily want people doing this after he's gone.
Right.
I feel like Prince would be like, yo, leave it alone. Well,
just leave it be.
Yeah.
Let people enjoy the music.
Exactly. Hey man, you haven't been very much of an introvert this interview.
I am as introverted as you let me. If you start like, I will say this. I am an introvert until you bring up a topic that I can relate to. Then you'll never get me to shut up.
Okay, got you.
I'm one of those introverts.
Okay.
Like just like I'm the introvert that will not put any effort into interacting with people. But if someone comes to me and strikes up a conversation and I get into the conversation, we'll talk for hours.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Prince just made you animated. I see. All right, man. I got another picture I'm gonna put up here for you, okay?
Okay.
All right, tell me what you see.
I see some foolishness on the screen. Just straight foolishness.
So, foolishness on which side? His side or her side? I'll let you look
like
at
I saw this video. I saw both their faces, and I've seen the same scene countless times with dudes that have been unfaithful with their partners. Like I think about who is it? the governor of New Jersey, Jim McGreevey,
Mhm.
when he got caught in a scandal um, he had an affair with one of his male aides,
Mhm.
and so like he had this big press conference. He's like pouring his heart out in to everybody. Meanwhile, his wife is on the side like, this motherfucker got me standing here looking like an asshole, trying to support his ass. Why am I doing this to myself? Why did I agree to do this?
And I thought it was interesting. I saw a couple of his Derek Jackson's videos in the past, and I didn't particularly care for the dude. I felt like he was dirty macking. I mean, I felt like he was trying to trash all of us men so that he could pull the women or whatever. And
Mm.
all right, man, listen, if you got enough game, you ain't got to do that to us. But whatever, it's cool. It's cool. Hey, if the game,
He had his thing, and it and it worked until it didn't.
right? Yeah, yeah. It's only so long fake thugs can pretend. So
Exactly.
yeah, like it.
Excuse me.
Yeah, it phased out, man. You got caught. So it's I think it's really really interesting how people just took to him, and they were just and they were like hanging on his every word. I'm talking about before all of this stuff happened, how
Right.
he just would make these videos and he would just say all of these things and then he just got all of these different followers, whatever. Um, I think that I would be a little hesitant, or actually, let me say this: him, I don't want to act as if I'm speaking for me because I'm committed to my wife, so I don't want to, this speaking. But if I'm in his shoes, which I won't be, baby. Okay, all right. Just want to make that if I'm in his shoes. If I'm in his shoes. I am choosing women who have something to lose. I'm not going to find somebody who they have everything to gain, including and especially me. I'm not going to do that because there's too much at risk here. So I need to find somebody where if they blow our cover, then they're going to lose something too.
Mm,
So I feel like he was,
interesting.
yeah, he knew how to reel them in, but he wasn't savvy enough to figure out which ones to reel in and which ones to, well, I wouldn't say throw back because you throw back the wrong one, they coming back and everything is getting shut down.
Mm,
He just wasn't savvy enough to know which ones to reel in because you gotta know how to play the game, man. Like this is bad because this is your business.
right.
Your business, man. I mean, like you made a living off of saying that the rest of us are bad, that we're all bad men, and then you made yourself look like the opposite of what you made us to be, and then welcome home. I mean, not home.
Just
I
the
don't live there anymore. I don't live there. I live with love, so don't. I don't. Very clear. Okay, we talk about my wife.
But like I actually didn't know who Derek Jackson was until all this stuff came out.
Mhm.
But just from the outset, he was kind of that like textbook old school snake oil salesman.
Mhm.
Like the guy that knew all the right words to say to reel in new business,
Right. Right. Yeah.
knowing that his product was on some BS.
Mhm. Yeah. But
And just like every other snake oil salesman, he got caught.
yeah. Yeah. And like I said, it worked until it did.
Hmm.
Yeah. I'm gonna put up another picture for you. I want you to tell me first thing comes to your mind.
Okay. some really nice memories growing up. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. Remember the commercials with Calvin?
That was one of those fond memories.
Okay, yeah, that's where I was going with that. I was just wondering if people ever make those jokes with you. I had friends
That's
named
what
Calvin, and people would do that, and I always thought it was corny, and here I am being just as corny as them.
was was kind of fun. Hold on a second, man. I'm sorry.
I'll take your time.
Excuse me. What's kind of funny, like I didn't get too teased for that growing up. It wasn't until Chappelle's show that I started catching heat for that.
Really?
Calvin got a job. Way to go, young blood.
Yeah, man, that actually is as the earliest commercial that I remember, from my childhood. Like I that in My Buddy commercials.
Oh no. It took me decades to get that song out of my head, and now it's come back. My buddy, wherever I go, he goes. My buddy, my buddy, my buddy, and me.
And then they had kid sister. I didn't have kid sister because I was a boy, of course, But
Right.
yeah, but I used to beat the hell out of my buddy. I did. I used to.
Yeah.
I used to do some sick things with my toys. So, like, my mother was worried about me at one point because with my action figures, I used to rip the arms off all of my action figures just so they could kick each other. She was a little concerned. Is my son gonna grow up to be a psycho? Yes. Yes. Yeah, but yeah, my bad, man. I didn't mean to get the My Buddy song stuck in your head.
Hey, it is what it is, man.
So, what else is it that you do? You can run down the whole list of things now, or anything that's left over.
All right, let's see. Radio show host, technical director at the station. That's a pretty recent development. I can get into that a little bit, but tech support for excuse me, tech support for phone company, audio engineer. It's kind of interesting how the interesting things that came along in 2020 in terms of music for me in terms of collaboration, because like people barely know that I write music. There's very few people that actually know that I do music. But I have two friends that are in a band, and they've been gigging throughout New York for almost 10 years now. And they we were just having a conversation last summer, just talking about what they were up to, and they had a song that they were trying to rework. They were trying to mellow it out a little bit, and we were just talking, and they were like, "Hey Calvin, you write music. You think you can come up with a little something for the song?" I turned that song into a 90s R&B jam.
Really?
It's
90s R&B.
It kind of crosses between 90s and 2000s, but it's just straight R&B. Got some real nice John B guitar in there. John B, they don't know guitar.
I love John B too, man. I used to want John B to sing at my wedding.
Yo, how dope would that be though?
I know. Yo, I wrote my wedding song. And
nice.
Yeah, and I was trying. I didn't pursue it as hard as I should have, because I probably could have made it happen. But I was trying to get Johnny Gill to sing the song.
Oh, man.
I know.
Oh.
Yeah, I may try to reach out somehow, and because I do have a connection to him, so I may try to reach out and see if I could at least get him to sing the song because I'm writing an R&B album, and I would love for him to be the one to sing that song.
Oh, dude. Oh man, that I'd be waiting for the Bandcamp link to start up so I can like just chuck my money at you, man.
Yeah, and AJ Throwback, he's actually showing that song.
Nice.
Yeah. He's produced a lot. He's been my go-to producer.
Yo, he's a yo, his skills, man. Yo, AJ's skills are incredible, man. Like absolutely incredible.
Yes, they are.
Like a hidden gem in plain sight, man.
Yeah.
He's incredible.
Yeah, I met him. I believe it was 2006, and so the funny thing is, back at that time, every time I met a producer, the producers would be like, "All right, I want you to hit my beats," and I'm like, "All right, cool." I sit down with them, and they played like the first beat would be like really really good. And I'm like, "Okay, cool. Let's see where this is gonna go." And then the rest of their beats are like, they're either subpar or just trash, right? So I had an album release party, and AJ was at my album release party. So he got in touch with me. I didn't remember meeting him at the party, but he got in touch with me afterwards and told me that he had a beat for me. So I'm thinking, all right, cool. I'll go over here. I'll check it out. But I'm expecting the same thing as with all the other producers, that you're gonna play me one good beat and then the rest of them gonna be like, this sucks, right? The beat comes on and I hear my voice. And I'm like,
nice.
Yo, you sample? Like, because he bought one of my albums at the album release party and he sampled one of my songs for this beat. And I'm sitting there and first I'm just blown away because I'm hearing my voice. And then the beat drops and I'm like, yo. So now I'm like, all right, I definitely want this beat. But what else do you have? And this man played beat after beat after beat, and every single one of those beats were phenomenal. I told him that day, I said, you are my producer for life. Not only producer, he became my brother. So that guy, and now now I'm making beats. I just started making beats like a couple weeks ago, and I'm sending them to him, so he can critique them.
Right on.
Yeah, but that's the guy that you go to for that, to critique your production, because his ear is phenomenal.
Oh, absolutely. While we're on the topic of AJ Throwback, I have an AJ Throwback story that relates to my show. Around around the time that I started developing the idea for my show was around the time that I had learned about bars.
Okay. But so his radio show, everybody.
Yeah.
Want them to
the Balancing Act radio show.
Right.
So we have a mutual friend, Path P. I went to high school with Path P.
Yeah, I know Path.
Path posted a link to bars, and I was like, yo, it's a brother on the radio. I'm gonna check this out. I was hooked after the first episode, and I started taking notes, just looking at him, just taking notice to how he presented himself on the air, how he spoke to people, that became my masterclass in being myself on air. Because a lot of radio DJs and personalities, they're exactly that, personalities.
Right.
They're a caricature of themselves. Not AJ Throwback.
Right.
The AJ Throwback you see on the air is the AJ Throwback you see on the street.
Yep. Same person. Exact same person. We had a radio show together, me, him, and two other people, a few years back. but he was the DJ. And even though he did speak, he didn't speak nearly as much as the rest of us did.
Mm,
But it was one of those things like when he would speak, you would listen, you would really really pay attention. So when
yeah,
he was about to start his own show, I was like, man, I can't wait. And he's been going strong for it's been a few years now that that show is
yeah,
going and just growing and growing. You know, it's amazing. And for everybody watching or listening, you can catch the Balancing Act radio show. I can never remember the days and times, but
Wednesday 11 a.m. to 1 p.m.
right, right, that's right. And it's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. Just go and look for the Balancing Act radio show or
So
BARS. ARS.
the Wednesday show is on Windy CTV on YouTube.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh,
Bars on the Road is on the Bouncing Act Radio Show YouTube page.
right, right. Yes, please correct me.
Yo,
All right, I want
like
to.
he,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say like even though he and I have never met in person, we've become kind of tight, and we support each other every week on on our respective shows, and I give him a shout out every single show because like I have to acknowledge how much of an influence that he has had on my show and how I present myself on my show, and so I can't like there's no way I could repay him for like the confidence that he instilled in me just by watching him be himself.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I think everybody that comes in contact with that man has a similar story. I I get it. I definitely get it, man. I tell you what. Let's do one more Rorschach test real quick
Okay.
before we get out of here. Let's see here. Okay.
Okay, this one just looks straight demonic. Like either Satan or Baphomet is like staring me in the face. I'm like, no, not today, Satan.
I see a cow skull wearing a gas mask.
I can see the cow skull. I can see like the snout.
Hmm. Yeah.
I don't I don't see the gas mask. I kind of see the outline of the cow though.
Hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about what you saw. So,
Okay.
um, demons in this industry, boy, this industry can be demonic. Uh,
Mm.
anything that you've ever encountered that has just vexed your spirit.
I think just for me, just like in terms of demons, just like battling my own
Mm,
every day, dealing with anxiety and depression,
mhm,
just trying to like heal from just so much that's happened in my life in my family over the last 10 years. Like it just like it's the kind of stuff that beats so many people down, but I just try to uh, dust myself off as best I can and uh, try to keep going.
mhm,
Like uh, the anxiety and the depression has wreaked havoc on my creative process. Like my creative process like took us like was on hiatus for like almost 4 years
mhm,
until like last year, a year or two ago. Just dealing with just like thing after thing after thing, and just having my spirit just getting this beaten down.
mhm. Yeah.
But uh, getting back up is always the hardest part. But you get back up and you try your best to stay up, you know,
Mhm. Yeah.
and you do things that are good for your spirit.
Mhm.
Case in point, my radio show. Like I joke with my friends that that show is my weekly therapy session.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like it's music therapy for me.
Right.
Like, but instead of like me working out problems, I get to uh, expose myself to the world for 2 hours um, through the random foolishness that I talk about during mic breaks and the music that I play,
Right.
and just interacting and hoping that somebody out there will be moved with what I play. You know.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I get it, man. I think a lot of creators suffer from depression and anxiety. But I think it's because in order to be a creator, you have to think differently.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And so I think that we go through things that are different than what other people go through because it's about the reaction. A lot of times the reaction is the creation.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so um, yeah, so I get it. It's almost with it's almost a necessary evil when you are like, I mean, if you think about the amount of songs, like for instance, going back to the example that I used earlier of Zoom, by the Commodores and where Lionel Richie was when he was writing that. I mean,
Right.
you have this incredible piece of work, this incredible piece of art because of pain.
Right.
So it's almost a necessary evil when it comes to creators and their creations. Um, and
Like it's like the textbook gift and a curse. You know.
yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely is. Yep. But all right, man. Look, but we're going to go ahead and get out of here. But before we do, I want you to let everybody know where they can find you, where they can hear your radio show.
Okay, so the name of my show is Lush Vibes Radio. It's 2 hours of the airy, atmospheric, ambient side of all the genres you love and all the genres you didn't know you loved. So, um, while my primary focus is like R&B and soul and like sometimes pop, I'll get into whatever genre fits the theme for that week. And so I invite you to check it out every Tuesday evening from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. On Radio Free Brooklyn. You can tune in at radiofreebrooklyn.com, the Radio Free Brooklyn app for Android and iOS. You can also find Radio Free Brooklyn on TuneIn Radio, MyTuner Radio, and Apple Music.
All right, sounds good, man. And so before we go, I got one more picture for you, and I'm pretty sure that you'll be able to see this one as accurately as I see it. So just one last picture. Tell me what you see.
Okay. You know what? The very fact that you were able to get so much out of me, I, I can't disagree.
And I couldn't agree more. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Man. I've enjoyed this time, man. You have a
me
good
too. Thank you. You too, man.
one.